Hi, everybody. It is Monday, September 21st, 2015, and this is Jonathan from Radio Tokyo. And guess what? Nick's here. Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm fine. I have a sandwich in front of me, and I'm going to eat loudly while we do the show, just for fun.
No. See, the only one who's allowed to do things for fun like that on the show is Danny. You don't get to do that. What's your point?
The point is I have invaded Danny's space.
Well, I'm gonna tell Danny, and then she's gonna have to deal with that. Yeah. Now what?
Now we do the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, originally I wanted to talk about the stuff that was on. God damn it! I just realized I missed Blunt Talk on Saturday. I meant to watch that because that's a good show. But originally I wanted to talk about the shows that came on this past weekend. Of course, Black Jesus started on Friday. It's good. It's really good. It's actually better. Just this one episode to me was better than anything in the last season. So that's getting my hopes up. And then on Saturday, Doctor Who. Holy fucking shit! It was amazing. Um, for those who are not keeping up with it, this is going to be a little bit of spoiler. The Master is back. The Master is no longer the Master. The Master is the Mistress, and the Mistress goes by the name Missy. Yes.
I
Uh,
wonder if that means we
first,
are going to get a female Doctor Who eventually.
it's possible. Well, I mean, uh, the character's still the Master officially, but she just goes by the name Missy. But it's
Yeah.
she's insane. She's insane. It's genuinely insane. And what I think is beautiful about this is there was absolutely no point in time where anyone brought up the fact that the master used to be male, that the master was a male child and grew up as a man, and then is all of a sudden a woman. That's beautiful. Society, come on. We can at least do that. Society, come on.
Yeah, I mean that's what makes me wonder if they do plan on doing a female Doctor Who eventually. Maybe not this season, or I mean next season, or even the next two Doctors or so. But that could be in the works, maybe.
Well, see, like essentially, Stephen Moffat has just broken all the rules. I mean, you're supposed to be, you know, a white man, and he's supposed to be from Great Britain. Who's to say we won't get a Chinese man from South Africa who's really a woman? I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. I love it. Also, Capaldi's entrance in this, which is all over the internet right now. I don't know how anyone can miss this. The first time you actually see him in this episode, he rides into an arena wearing sunglasses, playing electric guitar, and riding on top of a tank. It's just amazing. It's beautiful.
That does sound very fun.
It really is. But this was apparently just the first half of it, and again, not to try and spoil all this. But not only is the Master back, but Davros is back. Holy shit, the Daleks! Yeah. But yeah. Next Saturday is. I'm excited. I'm sorry. Uh, I on I had the chance to watch the rest of Capaldi's episodes on Saturday because BBC America played them all, and I gotta say he's kind of lackluster. Really, I mean he has a couple episodes where he's interesting and worth watching. Excuse me, and worth watching. But just this new season, just the first episode of Lone has it's kind of hair standing up moment for me. I love it. I'm excited. But Sunday, of course, we had Rick and Morty, and we had Fear the Walking Dead, and the Emmys were last night apparently. And I did not watch them because Andy Samberg was boring as fuck. He had a few decent jokes in his initial monologue, but whenever you get, ha 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 laughter, it's essentially you're being pitied, and it was kind of sad. But some of the early wins that
I
I
find
saw,
I find Andy has trouble doing improv. I would say, or going off the cuff. He's much better when things are planned out. Even though
th-
the Emmys are very planned out, but
yes, it's typically planned and rehearsed, and just
but I
his
mean,
his
there's still a lot of improv when you're doing a live show.
well his jokes missed. I mean, it was sad. It was like I felt bad for him because you can look at him and you know having watched comedians for as long as I have, you can look at him and you can see the moment it registers. Holy shit! Nobody laughed. You can see it on his face, and it's kind of devastating just as a viewer to realize that no one fucking laughed at him.
Yeah, I mean, it it was kind of weird when cause I watched basically just the first part of it cause I was watching the football game and then that came on right after. Yes, I watch football. I'm a sports nerd too. There's nothing wrong with that. Even though Jonathan is protesting loudly, as we can tell.
No, I actually knocked something over. Sorry about that.
Yes, you're totally protesting over my love of sports. But anyways, um, yeah, I was watching the first part of it, and he just came out of the gate with really political jokes, and I was shocked. I mean, I know, huh?
I wasn't shocked because typically, whenever good old liberal Hollywood puts on their shows, they do political jokes. Like it didn't surprise me. It was just they were
I was
so
surprised by the
bad.
level. Yeah, I was surprised by the level of it, and just they were just so. It, it felt like he was reaching to me. It was
He
weird.
was. He
But
was.
but
He
the
really was.
actual initial segment, the very first intro segment, setting up to where to introduce him as the host, I actually thought that was really funny. I because it did show there are like so many TV shows and it's so easy to get lost in all the different things if you're trying to keep up. It basically can take up your entire social life or life.
I'm living proof of that. But like, apparently, I missed the end of it when I think it was Viola Davis won an award, and she's the first black woman in history to win a leading lady role. I don't even know what show. I'm sorry.
How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I've seen it. It's not exactly my kind of show. Like things like Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder. Or uh, I have trouble suspending my disbelief with some things because they go for so much drama and stuff. But it's not a bad show. I actually like it a lot better than the Scandal things I've seen pop on every now and then. When other people watch it.
I did watch her speech, and I have to say it was actually a very good speech. But my thing was absolutely no offense to Miss Davis in this. I thought that Jeffrey Tambor's speech for winning uh, for his role in Transparent was a lot better. I mean, it was enough to draw a few tears because transgender persons are 75% more likely to be murdered, and it's something it kind of needs to be made aware of. And I think hearing that message, uh, you know, on a nationally televised program the day after it's finally revealed that lo and behold the master on Doctor Who is now a woman. That's beautiful. That works for me. Um, now I'm not saying it's connected, but it's it's nice to see it. But before we get too far in that, Rick and Morty was on last night too. It's hilarious. Oh God! And tonight is the biggie. Tonight is Gotham. It's like 5 hours away, and I'm sitting here going insane because I want to see Gotham. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Nick, are you gonna watch it, or are you gonna decide not to again because you didn't watch it last year?
I still have not watched it. If I do watch it, I want to watch all of it because obviously with a show like that, you need to watch all of it together. Um, I am tempted to watch it though. It does look it, but then see for me, and this goes back to the Emmy situation with Andy. It's like if I watch that, okay, well, do I need to watch Arrow then, and then do I need to watch Flash, and then things like that start entering my head. So I'm a little trepidatious to jump in, I guess.
Gotham is actually a standalone series, so you're fine watching it. Now, see,
But
the
see, my problem with that is with the DC universe building the way it is. I'm not sure that anything is really standalone, just like Marvel.
nope, Gotham is standalone. It is entirely prequel, and this season you're going to see the rise. Now we've already had. Oh my God,
I've seen the
Pink.
commercials. I saw the
Yeah,
commercials. They
yeah.
do look
Uh,
really, really.
we've already had Penguin, Catwoman, Joker, Scarecrow, the Riddler. Uh, Harvey Dent has been introduced. Uh, a number of villains. The Dollmaker has been shown. Fish Mooney, who was credited just for the show. I love Jada Pinkett Smith. I'm sorry she's not coming back, but it's fine. Whatever. Basically, you if you name a character, they've already been on there, including some really, really, really out there villains. Magpie was on the show. Now she was never mentioned as being Magpie, but the way she behaved and her name and every trait that was given on the show, you know damn well it's Magpie looking at her. Um, Geez, it's insane. Now, of course, the age difference is a little off for some of the characters, but it's really
Yeah,
interesting to watch it.
I was just gonna say that's one of the things that's a little weird to me to think of in a timeline perspective, because Batman's supposed to be around the same age as some of the villains, and some of the villains are supposed to be younger than him, but now they're all older than him. So that one's slightly confusing to me.
Well, see, for example, the Penguin character, he's
Mhm.
pretty much the now. See, the only real problem I had is the mob bosses. Because you see that they're already, they're upwards of 50 right now, and in the comics they're 55, 60, somewhere around there. But the Penguin argue like out of all the currently established villains, actually except for the doll maker. Except well, okay, here's the thing: the doll maker was written in the show as being Francis Dullmacher, and he's an older gentleman, which is fine. It works. It's really reaching. I mean, there's only been like two or three different versions of the doll maker, and no one really gives a shit. Even though he's probably one of the best villains Batman's ever
Yeah,
had, simply
he's
because
very.
he cuts people apart and makes things out of them. He's actually scary. But
He, he's
uh,
one of the. Whenever I saw him on the cartoon, he was one of the creepiest villains. But I can only remember maybe one or two episodes with him ever.
he's creepy as fuck. He really is. But the oldest one, it has got to be Penguin. He's probably 30 at this point in time in the show. So that's fine. Jim Gordon is a little older. That's fine. It doesn't hurt that that some of them are older. The Riddler is maybe 25, 30. He's probably about the same age that Penguin is. That's fine. It's doable because the Riddler's supposed to be kind of an older person anyway. Joker
Yeah.
is not much older than Bruce. Joker is I want to say he's 16 in this series, which is fine. I mean, he's like 4 years older than Bruce. It works because there's been some contention about who the Joker really is, like his actual background story. Uh, but if
Hasn't
you
that changed several times?
Yes, and because of the 1989 Batman movie, we have the idea that he's actually Joe Chill. Now, Joe Chill is mentioned multiple times as being the killer of Bruce Wayne's parents, but the Joker is apparently Joe Chill. In as far as uh, the Tim Burton movies are concerned, so that introduces the fact that hey, the Joker could be who kills them. We don't know. All they have done with the Joker in this one is hint very, very, very strongly that he's the Joker, because he does this creepy grin where he has his head tilted, looking straight at who he's looking at, and this insane laughter. You know damn well it's the Joker. It was a beautiful intro,
Yeah.
and it's surprising. But Catwoman is give or take the same age. Um, yeah, I'm excited for season 2 of Gotham. I really am because I want to see what they're able to do with the show, particularly uh, the fact that we know they're going to be focusing on the villains more and more and more. But
Yeah, I mean, it looks exciting even for me, and I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but it still looks really exciting.
speaking of wretched hives of scum and villainy, I want to talk about Irving, Texas for a little bit because reasons. Actually, more because it's actually a national discussion now. Nick, do you remember on the Friday show where we sort of semi mentioned Ahmed Mohammed and what was going on?
Yeah.
Well, yesterday or so, Richard Dawkins got into a little bit of trouble with the social justice warriors because he posted a tweet about Ahmed, and he's essentially relaying information and questioning it because several engineers and uh, members of the do-it-yourself community have looked at Ahmed's clock and said he didn't invent the clock. Now, this is the first time I've ever heard of this boy having invented the clock, uh, or reinventing a clock or anything. Uh,
The initial thing, or a lot of people were confused because apparently people don't know what it means to be a tinker or to tinker with things, which means you don't just invent something, you remake things, you take things apart and you put them back together. Maybe they do the same thing, maybe they do something different, but that's basically what he was doing.
well, but see, here's the thing, and I've looked at the different videos about it. I actually stayed up late last night doing this. But the thing that bothers me is I genuinely feel that I was duped. I feel that everyone was duped. The reason I say this is because there's some really, really strong evidence in place that Ahmed did not actually assemble the clock at all. Uh, the circuit board that you can see in the middle of the picture, underneath the numerical display and everything else, if you look at it, uh, it's still printed with the logo of the company that built the actual alarm clock it's from. The 9-volt battery backup is there. The little hunk in the piece of white plastic in the bottom is attached to a cord. That is not found in the Tinker community. That is a mass manufactured piece that's designed to use AC current because most people who build electronics don't use AC current. Uh, I mean, there's just signs everywhere that all this kid did was rip apart an old alarm clock and just put it into a pencil case. Now, th- that would be fine, because I've taken apart things to put them back together before. I know a lot of people have done that, and it's cool to do that. Like I do it a lot with action figures. Like I'll get an action figure and look at it and say, hey, how can I fix a problem here? And I'll take it apart and I'll figure out how to put it back together, to where it works better. That's fine. It didn't hurt anything. My concern is when Ahmed was detained, because he was not actually arrested, he was detained, and it's very very important to get that right when you're talking about him. When he was detained by the police, uh, and he was questioned, he said that the outside of the pencil case was actually tied together with a piece of wire so that it would not be suspicious. My concern is this 14-year-old boy took a pencil case with electronics into it that had a battery connected to it, took it to school, showed it to his teacher, showed it to his science teacher, engineering teacher, whatever the fuck this person was, and he was told it might be best to leave that with me before, during the school day. It might
I
be
thought
best to leave it with the teacher.
I thought you said it was best not to show it to anyone else.
Yes, it was best not to show it to anyone else and leave it with him and don't carry it around with you. Because Ahmed has been called, all these years, he's been called a terrorist. He's been called a suicide bomber. He's been called bomb maker just because he's Muslim and kids are fucking mean. So what does he do? What does the 14-year-old boy do? He rips apart something, assembles it in a way that actually does look like a briefcase bomb or some kind of explosive device, puts a battery in it, takes it to school, shows it to his teacher, and then proceeds to carry it with him everywhere else. And in the next classroom, in his English classroom, the fucking alarm goes off. Why? Why even have the battery in there? Why leave it in there? Why have it set to go off in a classroom and then say, well, I didn't want to be suspicious? It raises a lot of concerns. And his father, upon reading about him, now granted, his father has ran for the president of Sudan twice. That's cool and whatever. But his father tries actively to deny that there's really anyone in that is a Muslim that is a terrorist. When the man several years ago wanted to burn multiple copies of the Quran, to say that Islam is evil, it was actually Ahmed's dad who defended him, and said it was, and said, don't worry about it. His father is essentially an Islam apologist, and it like I said, it makes me concerned. Now, granted, like I said, Ahmed was detained, and I think it's woefully unfair that he's being labeled, what he is. But the evidence to me that he tried to scare people is there. It really is, because I was 14 at one point in time. I certainly took things to school. Now that I'm, in my 30s, I don't mind admitting it, because I was a juvenile at that point in time. I took things to school just in case someone fucked with me. Okay? I think
I really doubt he was doing any of that.
I would like to say that I have all the doubt in the world. And a good percentage of my thoughts about this is that yes, it was entirely innocent. But the fact that he's stated that he was picked on for this specific reason, and the fact that he didn't really assemble something on his own, and you can say, well, maybe, he was just tinkering and took it apart. That's fine and dandy. There are guides all over the internet for doing simple circuits that you can go, to like Lowe's and whatever and get the and get the equipment to put this shit together. And it's been pointed out even by Richard Dawkins, other people, there are little kids, 10, 11 years old, who are actually building their own functioning things out of their own stuff that they're able to obtain, and they're not taking apart alarm clocks and putting them in pencil cases and taking them to school. I mean, goddamn, I built an alarm system when I was in middle school for a science fair, and guess what company uses the exact same setup that I went with? ADT and everyone else that has little magnetic things, that pull apart. That was what my alarm system was. Now, I was a stupid kid, and I didn't ever think, hey, maybe someone will want to do this, and make money of it. It didn't bother me, but it was just the fact that I had thought of something that was a neat idea, and I did it. This kid took an alarm clock, took it apart, put it in a pencil case, took it to school, knowing damn well people had accused him of being a suicide bomber before. It's strange. It's really, really strange.
I, I'm just it. There's just nothing in this to make me think that he was purposely trying to do any of that. There's literally nothing. It, most people that tinker with stuff just use the stuff that's already around them. He obviously had an alarm clock around him. He took it apart. What degree he rebuilt it or did anything with it, I mean, I don't know, but it's this is like making something out of nothing to me.
Well, see, like I said, I genuinely want to believe that he was innocent, and I I I I will still defend this boy until I draw my last breath, because I do think that it was harmless. It's just that when I was presented with the evidence that there had to, Jesus, really, how dumb would he have to be to not be aware of what he was doing? You know what I'm saying? Like he's being accused of being a bomb maker before, and he
The
and he,
picture, the problem with the picture of the pencil case is it looks like a briefcase because it's so zoomed in. If you just look at a brief or pencil case and open it, it does not look like a briefcase.
but see, here's the thing: the case that he put it in, the clock he took it out of is actually a large clock, so that is not a small pencil case. And why pick one that looks like it's
It's a
metal? It's
foil. It's not that big. If you look at the plug right next to it, you can tell it's not that big.
I don't, it makes me feel weird. And I mean, seeing, what other people saying about it, it's a different
It's
perspective, and
smaller than a textbook. I'll put it like that. The pencil case is clearly dimensionally much smaller than a textbook. I'd say maybe 2/3 the size of a textbook area wise.
it just it's weird. I mean, like, all last week seeing it, people were, posting pictures of clocks and suitcase bombs and saying, "This is a clock, this is a bomb, this is the clock, and this is the clock." And looking at it, I was like, I don't care. I still believe this boy is entirely innocent. I can't believe someone would say some shit like that. He's 14. Have some compassion. I mean, this kid's already being offered to go to the White House. He's being told he can come to Facebook. He's getting, scholarship upon scholarship. I mean, the world has definitely shown this boy some love, and there are a lot of really talented, really intelligent kids out there who really do deserve this kind of attention. And to
Yeah,
me,
I mean,
and
the reaction's a little over the top in response. I mean, I'm not sure he deserves a full scholarship anywhere or anything. But I
well,
can
see,
understand the one to outreach to him and to encourage him at the same time.
like, my concern is what if this really was an elaborate hoax? What if it really was? I mean, that may just be
I
the
think
conspiracy theory part of my brain
I
screaming
think
at
you
me.
need your tinfoil hat.
I might actually need to go make one, but I mean,
I think John, it's okay. Just go grab your tinfoil hat. It's officially time.
well, no, see, I think officially time for that would be watching Fox News and them saying something that's against the Republicans, which they've been doing lately.
I am
Hmm.
so confused about Fox News. What is going on? What is going on?
I really don't. I really have no fucking idea what's going on. But they've essentially been
Did,
attacking.
did the candidates get too crazy even for them?
I kind of think so. I really do think so, to be honest. But for those of you who are wondering what the fuck we're talking about, uh, Carly Fiorina was on Fox News, I think, yesterday, and she kept insisting that Planned Parenthood is ripping apart babies and selling the pieces and everything. And Chris Wallace from Fox News said, no, they're not. I've seen the videos. That's not what they're saying. It was someone who said something along that line, and she goes on to say that she says that people that say they've watched it have to prove that they've watched it, and she says other ridiculous things, and essentially Fox News is not on her side, and I kind of like that. I kind of do. uh, for somehow Fox News has gone from being, the we're all going to die network to you need to shut the fuck up and question what you're saying network. It's kind of beautiful to see that they've.
I guess I kind of saw this thing coming a little bit, like when they were getting rid of Beck and people. And I don't know. It's really weird.
See, in the strangest way possible, this is why I used to like Fox News, because back around the time Bush was elected, this is what they did. Now, granted, they were a mouthpiece of the Republican Party then, and that's fine and dandy, but they just kind of went off their rocker the past 8 years Obama's been in office and saying all these insane things. And now they're like, no, no, you need to shut the fuck up. You need to step back a little bit and look at what you're saying. And
I
it's
mean,
it's it's, it's
I have
beautiful.
no problem with a conservative slanted news network, just like several of the other news networks are liberal slanted. There's nothing particularly wrong with that as long as they're a news network first and a political network second.
Well, see, every story I've seen from, well, not every story, but a large number of stories I've seen coming out of Fox have been really, really different. It's been really different since uh, the Supreme Court ruled in Obergefell versus Hodges. The marriage equality case. Um, Megyn Kelly was one of the first ones to to actually defend the ruling on Fox News. Now they had a couple other reporters, who said, "I'm glad I can now go to so and so's wedding. It's fine, and I'm glad so and so can get married." But she was interviewing someone, and they said something about it, and she says, "No, no, this is now law, and I was a lawyer. I now have to defend this law. It doesn't matter what I feel. It doesn't matter what you feel. It's now the law." It was like, holy shit. That's coming from Fox News. The people who are the mouthpiece of the party that don't want gays to go to the Republican National Convention, even though they vote Republican. This is people who have essentially been shunning Caitlyn Jenner, even though Caitlyn Jenner is a Republican. It's weird,
Did,
but
did they get a
it's
new CEO, new operating officer? Did
no,
something untoward
no,
happen?
no. See, m- my theory is, and keep in mind, this is not a scientific theory. This is just, this is the asshole version of theory here. What I think's going on is Rupert Murdoch has realized he cannot control Donald Trump. He cannot. And Donald Trump is saying ridiculous nonsense, and that's getting people's attention. And I think what he's trying to do is, distance himself from, for lack of a better way to put this, I'm sorry, Republicans 150 years ago, but radical Republicans. Uh, I really think he's
That is
trying to pull the party
a
away from
different
that.
term now.
Do what?
Did the ideological difference of that from now until back then is just so opposite? It's crazy.
Well, see, what really, what I think's happening is the Republican Party is going back to that in a lot of like going back to the more common sense, the equality and fairness to everybody thing, and I really do see it. And what it is certain people on the dais at the Republican National, at their debates are Tea Party, and Bobby Jindal is the first one to come to mind who said that the Republican Party is not going to last if if something is not done. Like if they don't come together, then there's not going to be a Republican Party. And I think what we're seeing, especially with Fox News, is actual Republicans, people who are of of the Lincoln type mindset where everyone needs to be treated equally, are finally getting their voice heard, and the Tea Party is just going off into you know the ether. And there's actually a more
I'm
conservative
not.
Fox News.
I'm not sure that's completely possible.
I think it
The
is. I really think it
well,
is.
no, well, no. Not that the Republican Party is going back to its roots, but that the Tea Party is just going to disappear. I really don't think it's just going to disappear. Like
Oh
I
no,
said,
see,
there's
here's the
so
thing.
much.
Here's the thing. It's not going to disappear. It's not. I think, and again, this is normal everyday theory here. I think we may actually be witnessing a third party coming into power. We may actually be seeing it for once. In
Which would be weird because if it does happen, that would destroy the Republican base.
no, it might not. The reason I say it
No,
might
no, no,
not
no,
is
no,
no.
no.
Hang, hang,
You,
hang, hang.
I think you're underestimating just how much of the Republican Party has become the Tea Party.
No,
I
actually,
would
I
say
haven't
a
because
solid third.
Nick,
I would
Nick,
say a
Nick,
solid third.
Nick, 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 Nick. I vote
Go
Republican.
ahead.
I used to. Okay, this
Go
past.
ahead.
Hang
Go
on,
ahead.
hang on, hang on. Let me say this. I come from a Republican state, a very Republican state. Uh, my parents are conservative Republicans. I was conservative Republican until I got tired of the bullshit and listening, to all these crazy things. And then I realized it was Tea Party members saying it. I don't know anyone who's Republican who screams, with maybe the exception of my father, that Mexicans are evil and that they're taking our jobs and all this ridiculous Fox News esque bullshit that they've been saying. And the more people I know who are actually Republicans are actually, understanding human individuals, they want to see equality. And they're worried about the economy. They're worried about jobs, going overseas and whatnot. But I'm seeing more and more of a regression from this bullshit rhetoric. And it's beautiful to see it because the last time we had a Republican in office who was like that actually was Ronald Reagan. So if the party is going to take a step back, 30 years to the Reagan era, I'm all in fucking favor of that. I really am. I would vote
No, no,
Republican again.
that
I really
but
would.
that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. What I mean is and I point to Canada here. Um, Also I'm echoing a bit on your end. Hello. There we go.
Hello.
Yeah, there we go. I was echoing. All right. Canada is a very liberal country, would you say?
Yeah,
Canada is run by conservatives right now. How did that happen?
people started listening to things that were being said and became responsible individuals and started actually giving a fuck about what was said. And I
Now,
really do think I honestly I really do think that's what we're going to see happen. Hang up. And I
John,
think
John, wait a minute. In Canada, it is a very large majority liberal country, right? But right now, it's run by conservatives. Now, how does that happen? It happens because the Liberal Party splits into two factions. And the problem with this, and we see this a lot in Europe too, one party that might be weaker overall in the country but is more together will always beat a party that's split. And when I say that the Tea Party will destroy the Republican base, what I mean is that they will not be able to ever recapture, at least not for a very long time, um, Congress, the Senate, the House, or the presidency. Democrats will run the country for a very long time if the Tea Party does completely break away and starts running their own candidates and things like that. And it's just a simple numbers game. I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily, but if you are in charge of the Republicans or the Republican Party, you are very worried right now. Because if the Tea Party does break away, and the numbers that I was saying, like even a third of them, the Republican Party is doomed. They are straight up doomed.
I'm still not worried about it. Believe it or not, I'm really not. I'm really not. Because like I said, the people I know who are Republican, with again with the exception of my dad and a handful of people, they're normal everyday Republican. Like they really would like to see some common sense come back. You know, like they're tired of the bullshit. Like
Yeah,
really,
and I have no problem with that.
really, I only know a handful of people who still think Obama's a Muslim. My dad being one of them. I really don't know why. I really don't know why. But he's expressed interest in only people who actually are Tea Party candidates. So that's whatever. He's still listening to their bullshit, and that's fine. And if Fox News is becoming more realistically conservative, you know, I'm all in favor of that. If it splits the Republicans, go for it. Fine. Uh, that's whatever. But see, the thing is, because there's not really going to be a candidate like that in the Republican Party, you know, that's actually going to be a decent human being and respectful of everybody around him, because you don't fucking have it so far. That means they're going to have to switch to voting for Bernie Sanders, because he's really the only one who's still making any goddamn sense. Even though Hillary
Yeah,
Clinton is actually ahead of in the polls because she's actually started answering questions. And what I think is amazing about this is when she's asked about her stance on issues, she's actually repeating what Bernie Sanders has to say.
which is just basic. I mean, Hillary Clinton is a career politician, and she knows well if Bernie is reaching the base by saying these things, then I need to start saying these things too. At least to a large, at least to some degree. Um, I mean, I don't know if Hillary being elected would be a disaster. I do really worry about her in the general election. I really do seriously think a Republican could beat her in the general election. That's why I'm really hoping Bernie wins, because I think Bernie is the best candidate, the best shot for Democrats, and the best shot not to have a crazy Republican in the office right now.
Well, see, really, the only way a Republican is going to beat Bernie or Hillary or anyone else that's running right now is for them to. They're I can't believe I'm going to say this. They're going to have to be Donald Trump. It's going to have like Donald Trump is really the best shot. Even the even though Ben Carson has been gaining on him and whatever, even with Mr. Carson's fuck up the other day about saying no Muslim should ever be elected president, he's still up there, and Carly Fiorina is still up there. So you're seeing people who are all outsiders are all in the lead, and that's fine. That's wonderful. I'm okay with that because, like I said the other day, Reagan was an outsider. That's cool. Whatever. I'm fine with that. But I think what you're going to see is it's going to be one of those three. I mean, really, I don't know anyone else who has a chance of getting over them because Rand Paul is never going to be supported enough, even though he's possibly the most realistic candidate up there. He's probably
I
never
think
going to get elected,
I think it's really hard right now to judge anything until they start cutting down some of the candidates. There's just so many people in the race right now that a lot of the candidates' votes that they would get in just a one-on-one election is being split between a large amount of other people. For instance, if we were to take, say, a Scott Walker, a Jeb Bush, uh, a Rand Paul, you probably would realistically want to combine all of those votes into one imaginary candidate and then match that up against, say, Donald Trump, and then maybe a Ben Carson and a Fiorina. It's there's so many candidates that it's just completely diluting the race, and it's really weird because even though Donald Trump, the reason, and this is the thing I was saying. Um, well, actually, this is exactly what I was saying about the Republican Party if they were to split. The rest of the Republican Party is split. The radical side of the Republican Party is firmly together behind Trump, which is why Trump is winning right now. Even though they're not the majority of the Republicans, as long as they stay together, as long as they're cohesive, Trump will win as long as the rest of the party stays split.
which is scary as fuck.
Which is what I was saying about the Party splitting with the Tea Party. If they do split, and I'm not saying it's bad the Democrats would get control, but they would virtually go unchallenged as long as the Republicans and the Tea Partyists stayed in their little respective corners,
Well, see,
which could be bad. I mean, any party not being challenged is, in my opinion, never a good thing.
what I think would happen then, and the reason I'm saying this is because it's happened before. If if there's an actual split and the Tea Party becomes its own separate party, which is kind of cool in its own way, they're going to have to start fielding their own candidates. They're going to have to do this and 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 whatever bullshit they have to do. And essentially, all you're going to get is racist and bigots in the Tea Party because that's kind of what it is right now. Uh,
Yeah.
no, no offense, Dad. No offense. But the Republican Party may become a bunch more actual reasonable individuals, and that would be cool. I'd be okay with that. Um,
I I mean,
but what I
I'm
think is going to
very
happen.
excited. Hold on. I'm very excited about Republicans becoming more Republican and going back to their roots. I mean, I'm more. I would describe myself as an independent that probably leans more towards the Democratic side than the Republican side, but I'm very excited by the potential of actual Republicans coming back. Actual Republicans I could consider voting for. That's really exciting to me.
It's exciting to me, and I voted Republican since I was 18. Anyway, uh, actually, this last election for Texas is the first time I've ever not voted almost all Republican. Really, it was because
I I've generally voted Democrat. I did vote for McCain when he ran against Obama. Um, I live in a very democratic state, so it's hard to vote Republican here. We mostly only have Democrats, but I'm willing to vote for Republican if I think there's a good Republican or a better Republican than the other candidate.
Hopefully, we'll see some common sense come back. I mean,
I really hope so.
really, what blows my mind is the idea. I mean, like, out of everything, what blows my mind is the idea that someone who is a declared socialist is now a really, really, really good contender for president of the United States. Now, granted, this is not, socialism like everyone thinks. It's like, like Adolf Hitler.
Well,
But
I mean that's the weird thing. Like we said last time about Bernie, the country has moved so far to the right of the political spectrum that even our far left, in this case Bernie, is more center left than anywhere close to far left. And the Democrats themselves are sort of center right. I mean, the we America has moved so far into the conservative spectrum that it's kind of weird to think about.
I just remember when Bush was in office, how, it was like communists and socialists are all bad. And of course, I still hear that. But when Obama took office, well, he's a real socialist. Ha! Do you know what a socialist is? Like, do you have any fucking idea what it is? Ah, I know it's wrong. Oh, okay. Well, socialism, and I'm just gonna go ahead and define it here for this purpose. Socialism is when the people actually have a fucking say. Essentially, the people control the economy. The people control the government. Okay, people controlling
Well,
government is democracy.
I
People controlling economy is socialism. That's what it is. It's
uh,
that simple. It's that goddamn simple.
let me describe it since
And
I'm
and
not sure.
and 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 see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We live in a country where our founding documents rather say that the people are supposed to be in charge. We're the ones with the power. So why is it that we're investing everything that we say and do in a country in a group of like 500 assholes who don't give a shit and are taking money from uh, different corporations, which is not what the founding fathers. I mean, like, I have gone around and around and around with people about this multiple times, this year alone, about how, well, socialism is just wrong. We're not supposed to allow this. We're not supposed to have that. I'm like, have you read the Constitution? Like, have you actually read it? Like, well, your interpretation is wrong. Have you fucking read it? Like, are you aware of what it says when it says we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, we have 10 amendments to the Constitution, and then we've added another, like 17 to that. Like we had 27 total, and it's like it's not a perfect document, but we're using it as being a perfect document. Shut the fuck up. Treat everyone nice. This is America. We need to be the good guys. Hashtag America.
I mean, I really don't think people understand. They don't understand what capitalism is. They don't understand what socialism is. They don't understand what communism is, a democracy is, or a republic is. It, it, it it's an interesting conversation to have with people.
It's a sad conversation to me because people are stupid. I mean, really, how did we go from being a country where everyone was an informed voter to what we have now? I mean, now, granted, holy shit, I just realized we're coming up on an hour for this show.
Well, wait. Let me put it like this
But like,
for people. Wait. Let me put it like this for people. Capitalism is a goddamn beautiful thing, and it works really well 90% of the time. But it has a problem. It has a very serious problem. When something doesn't make money, businesses don't want to do it. This can be a problem when you are doing something like providing electricity, providing water, you know, garbage cleanup, things like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
How do we fix that? Well, the government decides to step in and it provides those services for people. And that in itself is a socialist nature, or of a socialist nature. That's socialism. So basically, capitalism does not work properly without socialism. And that's literally all there is to it. You need both.
you do, but people are for some reason unable to understand that. But even like I said, we're coming up on an hour, and this is only supposed to be the half-hour show. So I think maybe it's a good. This is a good point to stop for today.
Probably.
So yeah, Wednesday show should be interesting, and then of course Friday show. But Gotham's coming on in a few hours. I'm excited about it, and if you're not watching Gotham, I don't know what the hell you're gonna watch. What are you gonna watch? Big Bang Theory?
Hey, I like
Why is
Big
that
Bang
coming
Theory.
on Monday? It's supposed to be a Thursday show. I really think that I
I
really
object.
see. I
I
really
like the
think
Big Bang Theory.
I really think CBS moved it to Monday just to try and pull viewers away from Gotham. I really do,
Maybe.
which is fine. Whatever. I'm gonna watch. I haven't watched the past two seasons of Big Bang Theory anyway. Why do I give a fuck?
I'm trying to catch up now. Actually, that has been one thing I've been. I didn't watch the last season's shows, and right, I think I'm halfway through it. it it's it's still pretty funny at some points. And right now I'm just trying to get through it, I guess, but it's still at least enjoyable to me.
It's not it's not a bad show. I just somehow stopped
I think
watching it.
part of the problem is that it got old and some of the storylines they've been drawing out for so long and things like that. But the new season things are happening that are new, so we'll see how that affects it.
I guess, but like I said, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you for listening. Sorry that Nick let us drag on for so long, but
Sure, because I did most of the talking.
you did. You always do. You always do most of the talking.
Goodbye, everyone. Go vote for Bernie. Bring back common sense.
Yes, vote for Bernie. Please, and while you're remembering to do things, please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, like us on Facebook. Tell Nick to shut the fuck up. Tell Danny she has to be on Friday show. Also, there is a music video that was posted on our Facebook page earlier that was sent to me by the artist who wrote the song. Uh, so give him a listen. He actually specifically sent it to me, or to Radio Tokyo to try and get some listens. I don't understand a word in the song. I really don't. I don't speak French, but it's a really well done song. So give him a listen and leave a comment, like it, share it, what have you. That's gonna be it for today. Thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Bye bye.
Bye.